What is going on, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to episode 2 of One Deck 1 Month featuring Speedroids Take 2. If you guys haven't seen the previous week's episode, I'll leave a link to it up in the top right for you guys to check out so you can get all caught up. But now we're just going to go ahead and quickly recap everything that happened last week and everything I've done between now and Saturday to help improve the deck. Obviously, our first locals back in the series, we ended up getting second place at our Tuesday locals, only falling to that absolutely bonkers Tri-Brigade Leader Lust deck in the finals. Like, that deck is absolutely insane. I'm not too surprised I lost against that deck. Like, the only way I feel like I can beat that deck is if I open up Nibiru plus Imperm. You know, Nibiru end phase, they go to negate with Utopic Draco, chain Imperm, and just wipe the whole field. It's an insane deck, very, very hard to hand trap. And he also had the hand traps for me when it mattered. So, like, of course, we didn't end up taking that match. But still very happy with our second place finish nonetheless. And then fast forward to Saturday, obviously we didn't do as well. We ended up going 2-2 with the deck. Our 2 wins, you know, I felt pretty good in them. They were pretty commanding wins, I feel. And the only 2 losses we took is to losing die roll in that round 2 match against my friend Colin. And then he just had Gamma Ash Nib in game 2. Like, playing through 3 hand traps is going to be tough for any deck, no matter what it is, so I don't feel too bad about losing that one. And then the round 4 loss, Nibiru both games at the same exact spot, and then my opponent proceeds to just have, like, full combo. Very, very infuriating. I actually just have such hatred for Nibiru at this point, and fusion engines, but I'm going to try to forget about it the best I can as we move forward into this next week with Speedroids. But to go ahead and update you guys on everything that's happened between now and Saturday's locals to, you know, help improve the deck. I've been doing a lot of DB grinding. I think I played, like, I want to say 6 matches on Sunday and then maybe another 4 or 5 matches last night on Monday night. I think I went 4-2 on Sunday, and I can't remember what my record was last night, but a lot of really good matches, played against a wide variety of decks, meta, and sort of stun or rogue. So I feel like it was pretty okay testing. Learned some more things about the deck, and I think the deck list is much better off. And I think I'm much better off with the deck now because of that testing, and I plan to keep doing that throughout the week. Just trying to hop on at least once a night and just run some matches on ladder to see, you know, how high rated we can get, and also try to make the deck again as best as possibly can be for each following week of this series. And I've also been in the process of writing down shortcuts. This is a very, very hard to play combo deck. It kind of reminds me of Infernoble Knight, but because a lot of your combos often branch into 2 different paths because of the nature of Rubber Band Shooter, that makes things way more complicated. So earlier, before I started filming, I started writing down in one of my notebooks shortcuts, like, you know, what to do if I open up Hound plus an extender, or, you know, all these other things, right? I've only just begun, and I have a lot more pages worth of stuff to keep writing down, and that I think is going to help me personally learn these interactions better and to help memorize them, because I like writing things down, pen and paper, right? I think that just, like, helps me learn better, you know, or like doing the combos with the actual cards themselves as opposed to doing them on something like Dueling Book. But we're getting there. It'll help us save time in matches too, when I don't have to spend, you know, 30 seconds to a minute thinking about what to make what level with red-eye dice, because sometimes that's like the big choke point, and it's like the difference between making 1 interruption or 2 interruptions. The deck list for tonight, it looks a lot different than what it looked like on Saturday. I wasn't playing Wheel, and I kind of regretted that. My thought process on playing Wheel, or not playing Wheel, is because I was playing Small World and Win and Droplet. It's a lot of cards that need discards, and also Small World just searches me Terra Top, so I'm like, do I just go for Terra Top more often, or try to roll dice to see if I, you know, can land 2 bodies on field to go into Rubber Band Shooter? I also wasn't playing 2 red-eyed dice on Saturday. And I think if you're not playing 2 red-eyed dice, Wheel is maybe not the best idea, because if you roll a 2, you just summon 1 body, and if you roll a 1, you just summon 1 body. So it becomes like a worse 1-for-1 at some point if you roll a 1 or 2. So I wanted to go back to playing 2 dice, and now Wheel's back in the deck, at 3 copies nonetheless. And I also just today was having a bit of a dilemma between playing Puzzle and not playing Puzzle, and maybe playing another level 7. But I'm just realizing in a lot of these combos, especially with Hound, like, having Puzzle is just so much more important to help you recover if you get an unlucky path with your double yo-yo terror top play. So that's staying in the extra deck 100%. Shen is also in our extra deck today because that card is amazing. It helps recycle resources with all the hand traps we're on for Crossout Designator. We actually can resolve its graveyard effect quite a bit. But it's about 5:35. I'm going to get heading out here to locals. I'm going to record my matches tonight. We'll go over them together like we usually do. And if things go well, I'll show you guys what the actual deck list looks like in the middle of the week. And yeah, that's going to do it. I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Wish me luck. Also, really quickly, I wanted to show you guys some kind of spice that we're on in our side deck for today. It's a card I've been eyeing for quite some time, and I just want to give it a shot in a tournament setting. So if I can find it here, I'll go ahead and actually show it to you guys. But yeah, so here it is. This is the card right here. It's called Spiritualism. And basically it says return one spell or trap card your opponent controls to the hand. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. So it's pretty much a guaranteed removal of any spell or trap. And right now with its current text, it doesn't target. The last time this card was reprinted in 2012. So like it may target if they decide to update the text. It targets in the OCG, doesn't target in the TCG. Some really weird like rulings like surrounding this card, but I'm gonna give it a shot today at 2 copies in the side deck. And I'll just report back my findings when I get back. All right, everybody, welcome to our Tuesday match recap. This segment is going to be a little bit lengthy as per usual, so if you want to skip past it, go to this time right here. And also, to save a little time, we're going to skip our round 1 matchup because I played against my man Johnny, who was on the Tri-Leerless deck, and he pretty much opened up unplayable both games, so we were able to take it 2-0. So let's just skip right to our round 2 match, which is a little more interesting. All right, so here we are in our round 2 match. We are playing against Sword Soul. I think this is my first time playing against Sword Soul at locals. I played against it before online, and this is a pretty interesting match. Not sure how long this match is, but I start with the Duke into the red-haired Hasty Horse, coming in clutch as just a free extender, getting me into the rubber band shooter. And then, you know, this is an interesting scenario because my hand could easily perish to any hand trap right now because I don't have a lot of extenders in hand. But like, that's usually fine because the one thing I find with my current list is if I'm bricking, or I don't open a ton of extenders, a lot of my other extenders or a lot of the other cards in my hand are hand traps. So it means if I'm not being able to play, my opponent's also going to have a very hard time playing too, because I have Nibiru Ash as well. And my opponent starts with like Watch Cat or something, just a crazy card that lets him basically search tanky, I think, in the end phase. He pitches Fractal. I opt to negate to stop from getting extra bodies into field. He links the Watch Cat into Linkuriboh, normal Celestial of all things, and then Battle Phase hits in with everything. So really not doing much of anything. Sets a Cosmic, I believe, and I think he might have an Ash in hand. End phase Watch Cat will banish itself, which is not a or sets the tanky off the Watch Cat. Like, I didn't even know this card did that. So pretty interesting little tech there. So he passes turn, and I think I draw Talents here. So there's like literally nothing I can do. So I just go ahead and scoop because like that tanky is going to get him so much value. And he probably can just play under well, let me be honest here. I shouldn't have scooped here. I think I was just a little frustrated with the opening hand, and the fact that he had like tanky in hand to like or already set to keep going next turn. I definitely shouldn't have scooped there. Yeah, I shouldn't. I still had Ash Nibiru and Rubber Band playing. So like when I Nibiru, I could have summoned the plane as a body to be able to work with any wind monster that I draw next turn. And the reason I would do that is because like, let's say I draw like, I mean, I guess it really doesn't make too big of a difference because if I draw either Hound or Marble Machine, I can still make the plane live. I just have to burn more things to be able to do that. Like if I draw Hound, right, then I have to, you know, burn the duplicate immediately, which I guess is not a big deal. And I guess holding the plane would make sense too for Small World top decks or Wind top decks. So Yeah, this was something I totally shouldn't have done. Should not have just scooped right then and there. So that was definitely a no-no on my behalf. To actually play, that'd be sick. All right, so here we are in game 2, and unfortunately, if you saw that, I actually drew my opening 5 and had to pass because my opening hand was cross out, recovery, gravity collapse, Veiler, Ash. So literally can't do anything with that. It is what it is. Like, and this is why I've decided to cut gravity collapse as I'm recording this from the side. It's just because, like, if that were a Gozen match, that would put in so much work because Gozen can just work on its own. Gozen match does not need to rely on me having a specific body on field. If I draw a Gozen match, I can just set it, and, you know, that's pretty much it. Don't need to worry about anything else. Like, that's what I really like about it. Gravity Collapse is an insane card. It does, like, a lot of times win you certain games. But also, I find against, like, especially against a deck like Tri-Brigade, like, Gozen match is going to also do you the same good, and it can also linger turn after turn after turn, and it's a card that they're going to try to have to out and not just try to survive that one turn, right? Because with the Gravity Collapse, you do have to give up a really good synchro, but you also have to, like, really, really be able to make a really good push next turn, because you're not going to be able to Gravity Collapse them again unless you open multiples, and that means your hand isn't that great. But it really puts pressure on to be able to OTK or put up a board they're not going to be able to play through on the crackback. Otherwise, I feel like Gozen just makes things a little bit easier, just because, like, it's a floodgate that if it works for a turn, it'll work for the next turn and the next turn and the next turn until they find an out. Because if they don't find an out, then, you know, they're out of luck. But he does get into... you know, engine here. He does have Foolish. He does get into Crass. I do Veiler him. Ash Veiler coming in so clutch here. And I think from there, he sets one and passes. And what do I top deck but the Terror Top itself? And Terror Top is just so incredibly loyal. The German ulti, I've said it in the past, I'll say it again. The German ulti, like, it's just glued to my hand. And I've also got Crossout Designator plus Speed Recovery in hand, so feeling really strong about that. Hopefully I search the Marble Machine here. I think searching Marble Machine would probably be better, but Hound also works because I do have the recovery, so any card that I do send to the graveyard I could immediately just bring back. And also Hound is going to give me follow-up here too, I suppose, if my plays do not, you know, go all the way through. I'm also playing Wheel still in this build, which is interesting. Which is a card I've already expressed my opinions on in great detail in my Speedroid Theory video, which you guys should watch if it is already out, or should be on the lookout for if it's not out yet. But yeah. So we link into our Rubber Band Shooter, and I'm trying to think here right now is, like, what do I do if my Rubber Band Shooter gets met with resistance? Like, that's what I'm trying to think. But I don't have much that I can do because I have, like, I have to hope that whatever resistance he has for it, I can cross out. Which odds are I can, because he was playing Imperm, I'm playing Imperm. I don't know if I saw a Veiler, but, you know, I do have Veiler. Well, not anymore. And if he does have Ash, I do have Ash. Well, in this build, I think I was only playing one Ash, so that lends its own, you know, problems. So I'm not sure what I revealed there. Oh, so I revealed Marble and Yo-Yo. And I do get, the Yo-Yo, or the Marble. I'm not sure why I revealed Yo-Yo there. Not entirely sure why I revealed Yo-Yo and Marble there. I mean, I just guess it's probably because, like, there's no two good cards that I could reveal that gets me a body plus an extender. I guess if I got the Yo-Yo, I could bring back the Duke and Synchro 7 into, like, a Wind Pegasus, so I guess that works. And I guess paired with recovery, I would have had plays too. So I do recovery back the Yo-Yo, and I do, you know, talk tag for the dice. We're off to the races here into Cork Shooter effect to bring back the materials. And, yeah, pretty nice to see what one Terror Top can do for you, right? And I still have Duke Engrave, which is the biggest thing I have going for me right now, which means I'm going to be able to end on a much better board than it would be able to otherwise. You know, establishing another interruption, and we've already got Hound and Recovery Engrave, so, like, this is already turning out to be such a stellar turn. So I don't modify levels here, or if I do, I made the, yeah, so I must have made the cork shooter a 5, and then we duke to bring back the cork shooter. Hagoite effect, bring itself back, and then we synchro for Crystal Wing. So we get our Baron Crystal Wing here, with follow-up engrave, and we have Gravity Collapse set with, or we have Gravity Collapse in hand with a cross out. So like, at this point, I don't think there's really any way I can lose. As I swing in for a ton of damage. Feeling very, very, very confident here. Because even if he does break my field, I have the Gravity Collapse. Like, there's nothing he's going to be able to do about that. And he flips up Revolt, and I'm like, you know what? Do I negate the Revolt? Yes, I do negate the Revolt, because I don't want him to get the follow-up and the potential banish that comes from it. So, I just go ahead and pass turn. And I'm not sure standby phase if I use Baron. I think I do standby phase Baron here, because why not? Essentially get a Terror Top out of the grave for a search for next turn. This is where also like having Fuki Midoshi Piper engrave could be cool, because I could reveal 3 off the top, which could be just like any hand traps at any given point. Also, yeah, so interesting thing that happens here is what I should have done is brought back a Synchro off this. I remember now. I remember specifically not liking this play too much, because bringing back the Terror Top was extra greedy, because he does have Imperm, which I was like, do I cross out this Imperm? And yes, I do burn the cross out on it. But bringing back a Synchro would have been so much better. Like, just bringing back a Cork Shooter would have been a lot better, because I recycle my Baron to the extra deck and give myself a free Synchro to tribute off, which means I don't have to tribute off the Crystal Wing. But now I'm left with the only option to be able to tribute off the Crystal Wing for Gravity Collapse. And he Kaiju'd it, which I was not expecting a Kaiju. And now my Gravity Collapse is completely dead. So, needless to say, kind of through there. Should have just acknowledged that if I resolve the Gravity Collapse, I literally just win on the spot. So that was not a good move on my behalf there. So now he just normals Fractal, and then he goes ahead and banishes, I don't know how many here. We'll see. Checking what things do in my grave. Skipping ahead here. Yeah, so he goes for Doom Eagle, and then Doom Eagle is going to return back the Hound into my deck. We lose the follow-up there. And then I think he just goes Battle Phase and clears over some of my monsters. Luckily for me, he's not able to OTK. And he's only at 2,000 life points right now, I believe. And I think he just goes into Access Code Main Phase 2 to clear out the rest of my cards, because I don't think he was going to be able to Access Code OTK there, since I had so many bodies on field and I was still at full life. So Access Code comes out, and he pops the Terror Top and just leaves me with the Gamma Seal. And then he sets one, which I think is another Revolt. And I start with Hound. Hound effect, we'll see if it resolves here. And it does go ahead and send Duke. And Duke is going to bring back the Cork Shooter. And then Hagoite effect, attempt to activate here. And let's see if he has any responses to this. He does decide to go ahead and burn Revolt. And Revolt is going to bring out Omen. Omen is going to banish. Or do I think I Gravity Collapse the summon of the Omen here, actually. Yeah, so I do Gravity Collapse the Omen. So he does not get the banish. Not really sure what my reasoning was behind this. Yeah, so now I use Recovery. Add back Tekatomborg. And then I summon Tekatomborg. And I summon out a Car Turbo. And then I bring out Hagoite. Okay, then we Kite Drake, destroy every other card in the field, Battle Phase, swing for 3k. And that ends up being game. So I played that very, very poorly there. I like the Baron misplay almost like came extremely close to costing me the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at game 3. So my opening hand was Recovery, Win, Tekatomborg, Godarla, and a Small World. So opened really, really strong here. I have the going second card in Godarla, so I can like tribute over any Blue Robins he might make. But my opponent does what I did in game 2 and just passes, and my 6th card is Terror Top, which is pretty insane. And the nice thing about opening Terror Top or a really good starter with Small World, which means like a lot of times you don't need to use Small World to search a starter. So instead, in a case like this, I can use Small World to go ahead and search out hand traps for this particular matchup. So I think if we just fast forward through this, I think I just go for Puzzle into Baron. And what else do I do from here? That's all off of just Terror Top. No normal summon committed yet at this point, and I'm trying to think about where I can go to possibly make more plays. But I think I just go Small World. Small World reveals Win, and Win is actually going to reveal Effect Veiler, because the only thing that matches between Win and Effect Veiler is Light, or is that they're both spellcasters. And then the only thing that matches between Lancia and Veiler is that they're both Light. So I think I'm just searching out the Lancia here. Taking a little while to do so. So yeah. And the thing that was weird here is I couldn't search other Speedroid extenders because I decided to reveal the Win. Because with Win, if you don't have Godarla or a card like Godarla in your main deck or a card like Ghost Mourner, you actually cannot get into any Speedroid cards with Win. Because Hasty Horse is 5 and Wind, and Droll is both Spellcaster and Wind. So you need a card like Godarla in the main deck to be able to bridge with starting with Wind. So I just go ahead and, you know, backup plan, search for Lancia, because like searching for Lancia against a deck like, you know, Tri-Brigade should literally just be an FTK. So I go ahead and normal summon the Hound here, and then Hound resolves to go ahead and dump a Duke to the grave, and then I recovery back the dice and see what I make here. Yeah, so my opponent opened, like, of course, right? He had Imperm Nib. And maybe this is where I should have just stopped while I was ahead. Like, I had, you know, Baron. I had Lancia in hand. But the problem then becomes is, like, even if I don't keep extending, like, let's say I just stop on Baron. It's 8 summons, I think, to get Baron off of just Terror Top. Terror Top, Tekatomborg, Dice, Pork Shooters 4, the 2 other monsters 5, 6, Puzzle 7, Baron is 8. So he could have still impermed or nibbed. I go negate, he goes imperm. Or maybe I just let it go through, right? I don't know. Because I have follow-up and I'll like a lot of good extenders in grave. So we're calculating stats for the token, and I still have yeah, I think we go I think I just go end phase here. Yeah, end phase, recycle the Terror Top back to the hand, and I have Godarla plus Lancia, and my opponent has Called By and Ash in hand too. So he drew a ton of hand traps. He starts the Fractal. I'm like, that's fine. Then he dumps all of his cards to the grave, and then he gets Kits. He normal summons Kit, and I fire Lancia, and of course he has Call By the Grave. Like, the sacky one of that would win him the game right then and there. And then he just access code kills me, so yeah. I mean, I lost to a Lancia there. That's why I lost. Or Call By. I lost to a Call By. I did not lose because Tri-Brigade beat me. I lost because my opponent drew a one of extremely powerful card that's still at 1 for some reason. So let's go into our let's go into our third round. All right, so here we are in our third round for the night, and I was playing against my good friend Gene against a deck I don't think I've ever actually played against. Ever, actually. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever played this deck on ranked ladder and DB or at a local. So this was like, this was an eye-opener, and that deck happened to be the Ad-Ignister strategy. So I opened unplayable, literally, again, for the second time that night. And I have to basically let him combo off here. He starts with the I Meet You to get red, and then the red grabs him the yellow, and links into the Dark Infant. And I think, like, this is the card, like, the only card that I know to stop in the deck, because that puts them on having field spell. Like, that's the only thing I know, and I also know Nibiru hurts this deck quite a bit if you wait till, like, pretty much the last minute. I also found out how to make the video playback faster as well. But yeah, he's just going about his combo here, and I think I opened Nibiru as one of the cards that help make my hand unplayable. Yeah, I think I opened up like Nibiru Plane, Double Duplicate or something, or Talons. Like, it was just a really awful hand. And I decided to summon the Rubber Band Plane here, which is a bad idea. I should have just held it for reasons I mentioned in the previous turn. But yeah, he has the Idol Reborn, and he's able to bring out the Security Dragon and keep going, essentially, because, again, I didn't know where to stop this deck. Like, this was literally my first time playing against Adagnister, I think, ever. He dumps the Danmari, summons out the Doshin, and I think he just goes into Dark Templar or Splash Mage first, then into Dark Templar. So yeah, he's just going to go ahead and drop the what's it called? The Arrival Cybers on me here. Yeah, he gets Arrival Cybers, and I think he blows up the Nibiru or something, and yeah, then he sets, I think he blows up my entire field and then just sets a couple and passes. Battle phase, yeah. That's just the game in a nutshell. I can't out that with the hand I currently had, so we unfortunately have to quickly go into a game 2. And let's skip through the siding here. Let's see. Skip. Alright, so here we are in our game 2. My opening hand is Win, Hound, Small World, Red Eye Dice, and Imperm. So a pretty standard opening here. I lead with a Small World, and I'm like, you know, is he going to Ash it, right? What's he going to do? Is this going to go through? And I was debating on what to actually reveal and banish here. I think I was playing 2 dice at this point, so like I could, or no, maybe I was only playing 1 dice still, with the wheels and the main. So I just go, yeah, actually, yeah. So this is an interesting thing that happened too. So I decided to start with the Win, and what did I tell you guys earlier? That if I start with Win and I don't have a card like Godarla in the main deck or something like the level 3 Ghost Mourner, I can't search a Speedroid. Because Droll's a spellcaster as well as being a wind. Hasty Horse is a wind as well as being a level 5. So I spent a great deal of time here realizing that I can't search exactly what I want to search. So I have to default to searching an Ash, which is as awful as that sounds. You know, it's not terrible because I open up Hound too. So I go ahead and start with the Hound dumping Duke, unfortunately, and I have to bring out the dice right then and there. So this is basically just going to result in Baron plus follow-up plus Ash in hand. And I think maybe I don't have Gravity Collapse. Yeah. So I have Ash Imperm plus the follow-up with the puzzle. So, like, not terrible, right? It was like a decent end board there. And my opponent has Nibiru in the end phase. And I am forced to negate because I don't want to just lose a body like that. Yeah, it is what it is. He starts with I Meet You. I decide to Ash because, again, I don't know what else to Ash. He sets one and passes, luckily. And wait, what did he set here? I want to see what he set, actually. So he had Called By, but he didn't Called By it, interestingly enough. That's interesting. I don't know why he didn't Call By. Maybe because, like, I mean, I still had the Imperm left in the back row, so I could have hit the Dark Infant as well. So I decided to stand my phase, bring back the Cork Shooter off of the Baron, and then normal summon the dice, or normal summon the Hound, dump the Duke, bring back the dice, and then Cork Shooter again here. And I think I make, what do I make here? It actually has Called By on one of the targets for the Cork Shooter. So that's going to cause it to fizzle. I just then default going into Rubber Band Shooter yet because I haven't done this line here, and then I get Drolled, which is also really painful. So I go Talents, I take a look at his hand, I hit the Engine card out of his hand, leave him with just a Dark Ruler, so I put him on top decking some sort of name here. And again, I can just go ahead and Imperm his Infant, which stops him from playing. So he draws for turn. I think he drew a Signet Mining. That gets him into a Chi-Chi. And then he goes ahead and normals the Chi-Chi, which at this point, I probably should have just Impermed this, but like, because like, I think this is going to get him a body. Yeah, so he gets the Doshin. And then he normals, or then he goes into the Dark Infant, which I do imperm. And then he just summons the Doshin, because I didn't know that was, like, something it could do. Like, I'm just so not familiar with this matchup, and it definitely shows here. So he's able to just basically transcode Talker, not go for a game here yet, interesting enough, so he just runs over the... I was really worried about the update transcode play here into the double attacking... what's it called? Double attacking access code. That would have been absolutely devastating. Would have lost on the spot right there. But I do have the yo-yo as follow-up since I didn't decide to commit it the previous turn. I'm out both Dukes right now, which hurts a lot. And I don't have Hound Access engraved. So that Terratop is going to go ahead and add me a copy of Tekatomborg. Tekatomborg here is going to tag into... Do I have the second Dyson deck? I do have the second Dyson deck. And yeah, that was also another thing, too. I couldn't start with Dice and then reveal Droll with the Small World, because they're both level 1 and win. But then I guess I could have, like, gone Dice into Hasty Horse into Terratop. I didn't realize I was playing 2 Dice here. But I'm still able to get into Baron. Baron pops his transcode, and then I swing in. And he draws one and passes. Thinking in standby phase. I have not to use it, obviously, because the negate is still live. Card Turbo. Banish it in Tekatomborg, swinging for 38. And then he goes ahead and scoops here. So, yeah. That one was played a little rough on my behalf. I think I sided out a Hasty Horse, which made it so I couldn't bridge with some of the cards that I had, man. So, like, I had to start with a win. I don't know. I messed it up, like, a metric ton. And I should just keep the Godarla in for this matchup regardless, because if he ever does establish the rival Cyberse, I want to have an out for it. Like, that's just plain and simple. And it also is just a great bridge. So let's go into game 3 here. And did any of us open up unplayable? Let's see. And I believe my opponent is going first here. Yeah, he... See what I mean? This like, these chairs were cursed. Like, people were just opening up unplayable left and right here. It was crazy. My opponent just sets one and passes. And I open up Small World, Nibiru, Valor, Tekatomborg, Recovery as my opening 6. I decide to lead with the Hound. He does have Chalice for it. We summon Tekatomborg, so we're kind of in there. Just hoping he doesn't have a ton more hand traps. We tag into the dice, and we're doing our standard line here. Bring back the materials. He does have Nibiru for me right here, which is rough. No cross-out designator here for that. I mean, I have a Nibiru and Valor of my own. I could keep going here, but I've already burned my normal summon. So I would have to search like a card turbo and then bring back something from grave to keep going. Well, like, I don't know here if there's anything I could bring back or anything I could Small World bridge, because I think both Valor and Droll are 0/0, but the only thing they yeah, no. But I couldn't bridge there. Like, I could use Nibiru to banish it and Terratop, then get, like, a Hasty Horse, I think. I don't know if I actually commit that here, though. I don't. Okay. So I'd rather keep the Nibiru against his deck. So he starts with red, gets yellow, and then he's just going to combo Valor the infant. But I think he had a field spell in hand, so, like, if he's got it, he's got it. Then this time I really, really wait until he gets very, very far into his combo. And then he links into the Dark Templar. I let him bring back the materials, and then I Nibiru him right then and there at the very tail end of his combo, right before he would have linked into the Arrival Cybers. And then he has Talons, which lets him draw 2 there. And I think he drew into another Nibiru off that, which is just, like, a little devastating. He also has Wind Pegasus engraved, too, and keep that in mind because that'll come up later. So, yeah, I don't know what I draw for turn. I think I might have drew Wind for turn. Yeah, it might be Wind. Or I might have drawn Small World. So I start with Wind. And what do I reveal here? So, yeah, this is something I shouldn't have been able to do. But Godarla is in the main deck, so I don't know why I didn't just reveal Godarla. Yeah, I don't know why I messed that up. That's something I would not have messed up now. But it doesn't matter. I had the way to do it anyways. I just get rid of the Godarla in the main deck, then search out the Terratop, because the only thing that matches between Godarla and Terratop is that they're both wind. And then we climb into Rubber Band Shooter here. And then we get the Yo-Yo, which brings back Hound. And I'm like, no, I don't want to bring back Hound because Hound only gets the effect on normal summon, so I bring back Dice instead. And he has Nibiru again. So, like, I just don't think there's anything I could have done there that plays through Nibiru in a meaningful amount of summons. Like, that's the one thing this deck struggles with. It's like you can't put up negates in, like, very low amounts of summons. But I do have Recovery, which lets me extend past it. And the Dukes to still keep going. And I think I get into Baron here. Because I make the Cork Shooter a 5 and then Synchro for Higuita. And this is what cost me the game right here. I decide to, for some reason, pop his Nibiru, and he has Wind Pegasus Engrave, and I have to negate there. And then he just gets to play for free on his next turn because I have no other good negates engraved to arrive in the standby phase. He starts with I Meet You, reveals the Light Dragon, gets the Pakari, and this is just game right here. I think he just climbs into access code. Yeah, double attacking access code, yeah, with the update jammer, so we just kind of punted there. Yeah, so my last round was against my friend Nick on Live Twin. We ended up winning that match, I think, 2-0. Yeah, I don't know where the footage went. I remember recording it, so I either accidentally deleted it or I never hit start recording, but we did win there, and we finished 2-2. But yeah, the main things I lost to in that tournament, I feel like were not faults of the deck itself, more so things that were my fault and how I played technically. I mean, the call by round 2 is call by round 2. Like, what are we going to do about that? But that Wind Pegasus adding this to play is just unexcusable. But yeah, that's our Tuesday matches. And yeah, let's just see where we can take it from here. All right, everybody. Welcome to Friday, I believe. And we actually have some mail here to open for you guys. I've been actually waiting all day to open up these packages. Just finished recording a Speedroid theory video. And should already be up by now if you guys want to see it. There'll be a link up in the top right for you to check out. But let's crack open to the small package first here. I think this is some cards that I ordered. Yeah, so these are the Gravity Collapses that I ordered because I actually didn't own this card. I've been borrowing a playset from my friend. Yeah, now I actually have my own copy from OTS 13. So that's kind of nice. And then in this other package here, we got something a little, you know, a little more spicy here. This is it's a card I already have, but I went ahead and got a little rarity upgrade to it. This is a card that I've been wanting to own in this rarity for the deck for quite some time here. Now you have to excuse me while I go ahead and pull it out of this impossible packaging. Alright, so now that I've finally freed this card from its packaging, you guys can actually get a much better look at it, but this is an ultimate rare first edition Italian Clearwing Synchro Dragon. So we're going to be able to banish this off of our Rubber Band Shooter, and it's going to look really good in the process. But yeah, I saw this on TCG Player the other day, and I was like, I have to get my hands on one of these. I've never owned a ulti one, but I was gonna get the Ghost, but I do like the ultis just a little bit better. And as you guys know, we already have the Ghost Crystal Clear. I was gonna get the Ghost Clearing to match, but like, you know, these were a lot cheaper than the Ghost Rare one, so I just decided to go with that. And now this next package here isn't any particular card. It's more so something we can put our cards in. And this is from my good friend Toby over at my Discord, aka Subterror Merchant. And he ended up sending me some goods here. So let's because I don't know why he wrote SEMO on here, but we're going to go ahead and open up this little box. And it did survive the journey. So in here, we should have a decent chunk of these oversleeves. I forget what brand these are, but I think they're Broccoli brand. But what we're really after are these right here. Official Konami Wind Attribute Sleeves. Extremely happy to have these, and a huge shout outs to Toby for sending these my way and giving me a good deal on them. So thank you very much, man. I cannot wait to put these on the main deck. And yeah, as much as I really love Imperium's new Pro Edition sleeves, I gotta swap them out for the Wind sleeves for the time being. I just have to do it. By the way, these sleeves, they told me should be available for sale sometime next month. So if you guys want to get your hands on them, be on the lookout at some point during next month. Because I've been loving these sleeves a lot. I wouldn't change them if it weren't for these. I took them to like 3 locals, maybe even 4 right now, and they're still holding strong, and they still shuffle really well. But the Wind sleeves, come on, like I had to. I couldn't say no. I really couldn't. Welcome to Saturday, everybody. It is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I figured now would be a good time to go ahead and update you guys on the current state of my Speedroid deck list as we get ready to wrap up our second week with the deck. Our current record is 7-5 after our 2-2 finish on Tuesday, which, by the way, I still cannot believe my opponent round 2 had the called by. We were able to search a clutch Lancia, and he had the called by. It is what it is. And then how I just absolutely punted our round 4 matchup by popping his Nibiru for basically no reason to trigger a Wind Pegasus he had in his grave. My opponent even told me if I would have left the Nibiru there, he would have had a very hard time making plays. He would have to do some very awkward routes, and probably wouldn't have been able to OTK me. So it is what it is. At least it wasn't the deck's fault. It was my fault. And then we just lost to a Saki 1-up, right? It is what it is. But the little bit of a challenge that I want to sort of do, a little bit of an experiment, is the current deck list that I have right now, which in theory and in practice I like quite a bit because it's very consistent. I like a lot of the ratios. Everything pretty much makes sense to me. We have a good balance of going second cards and anti-hand trap cards, which the deck needs, right? I talked about that in the end of the last episode and in the Speedroid theory video I made. Like, you need to play cross out or talents in this deck because, again, any given hand could die to any hand trap depending on the opening, right? So I feel like everything is really good, but I tend to be very result-oriented sometimes and having, making changes to the deck after a very short-term amount of data or result. So like if I go to one tournament, right? Maybe you guys do this too. You can learn from my mistakes. If you go to one locals and you do poorly with a deck, whether it's a combination of the actual deck's performance and your performance, right? Doesn't really matter. If you do poorly with it, and you find yourself more inclined to go ahead and start making small little tweaks here and there, maybe you drew this 1-3 of too many times, so you're going to cut it to 2, and that might not be the call. Or maybe you drew this 1-1 of too many times, so you're going to cut it completely. Or, the one card that really never comes up that you used to play in the extra deck comes up, so you're going to go ahead and cram it into the extra deck, right? That's result-oriented thinking. And I tend to make changes based on those very short-term results. And my challenge I'm setting for myself is to, I'm not changing the deck list after tonight's locals. I'm keeping it exactly the same card for card. Side deck is an exception. And then I'm not changing it after our Tuesday locals that we have next week. All the DB testing I'm going to do between now and then, I'm not changing it. And I'm only going to allow myself to make absolute changes between now and our next Saturday locals. So I'm setting myself a little challenge because I want to get in a lot of games with this deck, with this current build, and with the more games I play, I'll be able to start seeing more and more clearly the things that are actually problematic, and not things that I'm just seeing as problematic in the short term because of things like variance or just negative impact bias, right? So yeah, that's the goal. I'll show you guys what my deck list actually currently looks like right here, just a little EDO Pro screenshot. I decided to cut Marble Machine down to 1 because I've come to the conclusion that seeing Magic Hound or Ultra Hound with any extender, or even on its own, is just ultimately a better starter card than Marble Machine. But Marble Machine is not replaceable, mainly because of its level. If I open up Terror Top, I'm probably searching Marble Machine. Terror Top Marble Machine is also a pretty good opening, so if I open up a way to Terror Top through Small World or Win, plus Marble Machine, I still have a really, really solid combo. So yeah, I like it a lot, and I've also learned a lot of combos that are just Terror Top combos that result in Crystal Wing Baroness that don't even use Marble Machine. They literally just use, well no, they do use Marble Machine, but they also use Hound. Marble Machine is like the less important step in the deck. And I also cut it to 2, or cut it down to 1, because I didn't want to open hands of multiple normal summons. So we're on 3 Hound, 1 Marble. 2 Hasty Horse is in the deck, and I cut Speed Recovery down to 2 as well. And my main thought process behind this, and it does make a lot of sense, with how good the deck has become in a card like Cork Shooter, how good it is, oftentimes hands where you're seeing 2 or more speed recovery isn't really going to change the end result of your board, because a lot of the times they're already predetermined with the given cards you have available, or whatever card you got off of your rubber band shooter. Did you have to use Den Den Daiko Duke already to get out your dice, or were you able to use Tekatomborg to get out the dice, right? A lot of times adding speed recoveries to those hands aren't changing your overall end board. A lot of times they could actually brick you, or you might have an awkward speed recovery left over in your hand that you don't really have anything to do with, and you just activate it to put a random piece on the field to get an add back on the following turn. So I'm going to play 2 because drawing multiples sucks, and playing 2 will reduce my chance of seeing 2 copies, and I only ever really need to see 1 at the end of the day. Hasty Horse is an incredible card. I think it's one of the best wind extenders you can play hands down in this deck. And, you know, Hasty Horse being in the deck makes it easy to combo with only 11 starters in the deck, because any wind monster plus Hasty Horse, or any wind monster plus Card Turbo Tekatomborg is still full combo, or any wind monster with Terror Top Right. So we still have good consistency to get into our combos. And, like, that's just the main thought process behind the list. And I also axed Shen Shen from the deck because it is an extremely matchup dependent card. And I don't want to have the possibility of having dead extra deck cards in our extra deck going into games 2 and 3. So I put Clearwing Rider back in because of the massive removal and the chance at resource recycling. And it's also technically an interrupt because we can tag into Pegasus or the Clearwing Synchro Dragon if we do not need to banish a 7 at any point during our previous combo. Maybe we banish a 6 or a 5 because those do come up quite a bit. And then the side deck, yeah, you guys can see the side deck. I'm siding the 2 Dark Blue and the Droplet as cross out targets going first. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to update you guys on. I'm going to try to hold on to this list as much as I can until next Saturday. And if I end up not liking 2 Speed Recovery, if I end up not liking playing 1 Marble, 2 Hasty Horse, right? If I end up not liking these ratios, maybe I really miss Shen Shen. Maybe I'll throw it in the side deck, right? I don't know. We're just going to try to leave it as is for now. I need to eat before I go because I play much better on a full stomach than an empty one. And then we're going to be heading out. And yeah, very excited for today, guys. Very excited. So just a couple of things before I actually leave here. I was doing some test hands on EDO Pro really quick just to run through a bunch of hands really fast. And I'm starting to realize the importance of level 5 monsters. Because Baron de Fleur has such an easy summoning condition being a level 10, you know, cards like Rubber Band Plane and Hasty Horse let us climb into that card really quickly, especially if we use dice to make the Cork Shooter a 5. The only downside I find of that sometimes, it means you're not making Baron with Pegasus or Puzzle, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. Easy access to Baron is still easy access to Baron at the end of the day. And also, let's not forget that Baron is so crazy that it can act as an extender during the standby phase if we already exhausted its negate and we don't need it. But another thing, too, I was talking to some of my friends in a group chat, and we were talking about organizing cards, and I told them that I have some of my cards organized alphabetically. And they said I was crazy for doing it, but I'm just saying, like, it saves you so much time in the long run. Yes, it takes hours to get everything set up, but once you get everything organized alphabetically, it does nothing but save you time from here on out. But I will be honest with you guys, I haven't been keeping up with that too lately. I bought this card house here many months ago, and as you can see, I have everything in these little, you know, I think 800 count boxes here labeled. And I also drew the little symbols for all the spells and traps and stuff. This is great for organizing, but I'm still, to this day, a fan of alphabetizing. So I have these dual Devastator boxes here with monsters, A through K, and then L through Z. And then up here, I have a spell dual Devastator box that is fully organized A through Z. Now, there's not a lot of cards in here, But as you guys can see, I just use index cards for these parts here and just cut them into small rectangles and then just wrote the letter on there that they represent. So, and then I have traps in this tin here since I don't have a lot of traps organized. But eventually the goal at some point will be to actually alphabetize all this stuff, because like I just find it to be way more convenient. Yes, it takes a ton of time, but like finding cards is just so incredibly easy when they're alphabetized. Let me know how you guys organize your cards. Everybody, welcome to our first match for our Saturday locals, and I got paired up against my friend Colin here in round 1. I knew it was going to be a tough match because he is a good player and is always on the meta sauce, if you will, and I knew going into this that I was like 99% sure he was going to be on Tri-Brigade with the Destiny package. We ended up playing him, I think, on week 1, and we ended up losing 2-0 just because he had all the hand traps he needed both games. Here I open up the Hound plus Wind Extender line, which should get me into Crystal Wing, Baron, or double Crystal Wing if I get the unlucky pass. So really solid opening here. And he does have Ash for my Rubber Band Shooter, but I do quickly respond with the Called, or not the Call by the Grave, the Crossed Out Designator. We unfortunately do get the unlucky path by not getting the double Yo-Yo. So that's going to force us to not be able to make our Cork Shooter a level 5, and instead we have to make our Terror Top here level 4 to be able to get access to Hagoita to be able to make the first Crystal Wing, and then have the Hagoita engraved for the second Crystal Wing when we bring back the Card Turbo in this situation. So we end on double Crystal Wing. And some follow-up with a couple extra cards in hand. I believe one of them is a Droll, and the other one is an Ash. So, like, double Crystal Wing plus Ash Droll plus follow-up is normally really good, right? But my friend Colin just tends to defy logic sometimes with these hands that he opens. I think he normals Cat here after he takes a good while to read and understand my cards. He normals Cat, I Ash it, and then he responds with a copy of Triple Tactics Talent. He actually steals my Crystal Wing, and then I'm going to fast forward here because we do discuss the interaction here quite a bit, and I just double check with the judge to make sure whose Crystal Wing will win in the battle phase, you know, based on their mandatory effects. And since he's turn player and Chain Links resolve backwards, his Crystal Wing will win, and I will take 3,000. And at that point, you know, all that gets sorted out, right? We did spend a little bit more time on that than we probably needed to, but I just wanted to double check because oftentimes I am not assertive enough as I should be in those situations with double checking and rulings and everything. It's not that I don't trust him, it's that I don't trust myself. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and see him reborn back my Crystal Wing, link it for Anaconda, make the Enforcer, and pass turn with 1 set back row, which I can assume may be, you know, Revolt at this point, but I don't know how live it can technically be. I lead here with Hound going ahead to recycle, I think, a Tekatombor back into the deck to summon a level 3 Speedroid Synchro from my extra deck. Of course, it's going to be Cork Shooter. Its effects are negated. I do have Rubber Band playing here to continue to extend well, to be able to threaten a Kite Drake, which is really strong. Now, here he does use Enforcer after he goes ahead and looks up what Kite Drake does, because at this point I've already had to explain a lot of cards to him at this point, so I'm like, if you want to just look it up yourself, you can, just so I don't have to reveal a card to you in my extra deck that, you know, I may or may not be playing, right? So he does pop the Rubber Band plane here. Now, at this point, I had Hagoita engrave, and if I'm being totally honest, I have no idea why I didn't summon the Hagoita here. He had every right to pop the tuner on the field, but he didn't. He popped the level 5 body. I don't know why he did that. I had Hagoita engrave. I could have summoned it out here to make Kite Drake again, but I just didn't. I don't know why I didn't do this. This is one of those things that you, like, is so obvious when you watch it back, but in the middle of it, you just don't even think of it as an option. I mean, he did have Revolt set, and he only had Cat engraved, so the Revolt really wasn't going to do anything there. Yeah, no, he had Cat plus Fract. Oh, no, he just had Cat, I believe. So I don't know what I was doing there. I could have made Kite Drake, but like the thing is with both Crystal Wings exhausted, I didn't have another interruption to get into, and DPE wasn't you know, going to be stopped in time. It was going to come back to force interruption regardless. I mean, he does here resolve the Celestial by normaling and setting one. I droll him on resolution. He still has the Fractal for the kit for dumping a Crass, banishes 4 off the Nerval, goes for Omen. And at this point, I've seen enough, so we're just going to go ahead and go into game 2. But I still can't believe I didn't see the Kite Drake line. Again, I don't think it would have made much of a difference because like I either make a level 8 there, and that's pretty much all I make. I don't know what else I was making past that, so let's go ahead and skip forward. So I believe at this point, like, Gravity Collapse and Lancias are in, just because they kind of have to be. So we go ahead and start with Small World here in Game 1, just because it's such an incredible starter. Can get me pretty much anything in my deck. It's kind of, you know, curious to see if he would burn an Ash on this, but he doesn't. We start with Hound, reveal Win, and then go ahead and grab Terror Top. And then we go ahead and summon the Terror Top, and this does surprisingly resolve here. And I actually grabbed Rubber Band Plane, and I probably should have grabbed another Hound if I didn't already have one for follow-up for next turn. And then we go ahead, and I must have Tekatomborg in hand too already, as I search the card turbo. And here I could have just done like the no-link double Crystal Wing play, but I wanted to try to make the best board I possibly could, which is going to be Baron Crystal Wing. And if I wanted to do that, I would make Terror Top here a level 5. And it looks like I don't. So I go ahead and decide to just... Or no, I don't need to make it a level 5 yet. I need to make it a level 2. Bring back the materials, and my opponent actually has an Imperm. I could have potentially chain blocked it from things like Bell, but, you know, Imperm is just really good. I could have chain blocked with the Rubber Band Plane, but it doesn't matter here. So he denies me from bringing back my materials. So we kind of default here to a bit of a different play. And at this point, I could synchro the Rubber Band Plane and the Marble and the Car Turbo into Baron and pass on that. But, you know, I just have one Omni Negate. And I don't think here I could have made much plays other than that. I'm actually curious to see what I do here. So I actually link into Rubber Band Shooter and banish a 6 to reveal the Hound and the Duke. We get lucky and get the Hound here. And I don't go for the Terror Top Yo-Yo play because we already started with Terror Top. So we dump the extra Duplicate to the grave here as an extender. And we make Higuita this way. And we synchro for the first Crystal Wing. We have a Duke engraved to bring back the Cork. And bring back the Higuita to get into another Crystal Wing. So through Imperm, we're able to get to double Crystal Wing. And unfortunately... my opponent has Dark Ruler no more. You'll see that here in just a second after resolving the tanky Dark Rulers and then pitches Fractal. And at this point, I basically just get to sit through his entire combo, and it's a pretty good one. So he makes Omen, and then, you know, after a little while gets the Revolt, and then I basically pass turn. He basically passes turn after that for setting one. I start by activating Rubber Band Plane to go ahead and clear his Omen, and he has the Revolt again, so forcing him to burn the Revolt right here, and he's gonna summon the Silver Sheller. That's gonna banish the Crystal Wing, and at this point I have one card left to work with here. I mean, granted, I still have like Hound engraved with Higuita and Duplicate, so I'm not sure really what I can get into here, if anything at all. Yeah, so I go ahead and start with Hound, put one back, summon out the Cork Shooter, and then I think I go ahead and bring back the Higuita, and then I think I synchro Kite Drake. Yeah, I synchro Kite Drake, activate the effect on summon here to go ahead and destroy all cards he controls. To be totally honest, like, I probably should have negated all of his cards and then just battle phase cleared, like, the what's it called? The Silver Sheller. But, like, he just has way too many cards, and I just don't have enough, like, resources to keep going. Like, yeah, just, I don't think I could have, like, even if I bring back Duplicate and drop one of my monsters by a level, like, I don't think I can make much still. It's just a really rough situation all around. Like, maybe I could have made, a Shen Shen if I was playing it, but it really doesn't matter. And then here he's just going to continue to combo to the point where, you know, clearing the Kite Drake is not really a problem. And, yeah, we pretty much scoop on the next turn. Yeah, just like getting out resourced, and he was able to break my board pretty much every time. I did not draw the crossout designator in time. I did side in the Dark Ruler for it to be able to cross it out if he had it, but, you know, I did draw the crossout, so not much we can do there. So let's head into our next match. All right, guys, we just finished up our round 3 matchup. We played against Cyber Dragon, a player I play against a lot, apparently, but it was a really good match. Unfortunately, he didn't open up too well in game 2, but he did have enough to hold me off for a turn. Drone lock is pretty good. You know, he shut me down for a little bit, but we were able to pull through. And I don't know if I showed it to you guys, but I made a really sick play with Clearwing Rider, and then use dice to make it level 2, and then Cork Shooter bring back the materials, including Clearwing Rider. And then we stepped right up into Clearwing Rider, Crystal Wing, plus Crystal Clear. Really awesome end board. Clearwing Rider's been coming up a lot tonight, and I'm really glad I'm playing it. It came up in the previous match against Prankids, which unfortunately my camera died, like, I think as the game 3 started, and I didn't have time to switch batteries. But it was a really crazy grind game, a lot of back and forth. Had 2 gravity collapses that I resolved on him consecutive turns, and then time was like, there was only 10 seconds left on the clock, and I top decked a Hasty Horse, summon Hasty Horse, summon Car Turbo, and then we were able to go into Kite Drake, wipe the field, and hit for 3k, and we were up in life by like 900, so we were able to take the game by a very, very slim margin with like 10 seconds left on the clock. It was a really good match. Wish I would have gotten all the footage for it, but my camera just couldn't handle the entire match. It was too good, so we're going into round 4, 2-1 right now, so I'll update you guys as soon as we're done. All right, so here we are in the 4th and final round of the tournament. Yeah, we are X1 still right now. We have not managed to drop another game since round 1. We just played against Prankids and Cyber Dragon, and we managed to beat both of those decks. Now, here we are playing against Flunder. My friend Jeremiah did not open up well. Gold Sarked for the Robina and sets 3, and unfortunately has to pass. I lead with Small World here. Was interested to see if he would take the bait, but he doesn't. And that's just going to allow us to go right to Droll into Ash into Terror Top. Only thing that matches between the Droll and Ash is 0 attack, and the only thing that matches between Terror Top and Ash is the level 3. So we start with the Terror Top. Normal summon the Marble Machine. That grabs us the Car Turbo because we already have Tekatomorg in hand. The better extender to have. We tag into Duke. And here I wanted to just go right for the Kite Drake play. Because if the Kite Drake resolves, I can just Duke for dice, and then do my normal play by, you know, making Kite Drake a level 2 with the dice. And the Kite Drake does resolve here, but he does have Book of Moon, which is going to prevent me from being able to, you know, manipulate his level with dice. But he burns a book, burns a, you know, a set rotation to deck then a little bit, so he doesn't, you know, brick next turn, or at least, you know, decreases his chances. I have to set one, which is an imperm. He does find a Metaverse off Duality. He does have to set it and pass after that. He starts with the Metaverse for Mystic Mind to go ahead and buy himself a little time. I just flip up my Kite Drake and pass. He finds another Duality. Also gets back his Rabina off of the Gold Sarg, and then the Duality here grabs some map. So, like, after a few turns, with the help of mine and other things, he's able to just find his map Robin combo. Map reveals the Robin, banishes Eaglin, normal Robin, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 Eaglin, and he grabs Stree. And here I'm just basically saving my one interruption, which is Imperm, to go ahead and hit the Eaglin. Then he goes ahead and activates his actual normal summon for Stree, banishes Duke out of the grave, and then I think he tribute summons here for Mega Ryza, and shuffles back the Kite Drake and puts a Duality back in the top of his deck, and then swings in for a little bit of damage and passes. But hitting Eaglin, I still think, ends up being the best thing because it stops them from getting M-Pen. Now here, I think I draw into Hound, which is pretty good. Or I might have drawn into a Droll, I'm not entirely sure. I lead with Hound, and unfortunately I have the normal summon to give him something. And I go ahead and dump Duplicate here, and I was expecting him to banish the Duplicate off of the Stree, but he doesn't. He banishes the Tekatomorg engrave, and then he gets the Eaglin, which gets him into M-Pen. which I can't stop, unfortunately, right now. I was going to droll him, but I didn't want to also droll myself, if you know what I mean. So he goes ahead and normals the Eaglin, or the M-Pen. M-Pen search the unexplored win, and he gets the Robina back to his hand as a result. And then here, I have to summon Car Turbo, because I need to get into a level 6 Synchro, because I don't know how I'm outing this otherwise. Maybe I could have made Wind Pegasus at Ignister, you know, in some alternate route. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, the Juju comes in very, very clutch here to out the M-Pen by sending it, because I have to summon it in defense, and then I just have to pass on that. And he starts with the unexplored winds, and then I think starts with map after that to banish the Toucan, and normals the Robina, chainlink 1 Robina, to go ahead and add back, or to add, and he chainlinks 2 Stree. I imperm the Robina here, just because like I want to like stop him as quickly as possible. He then goes ahead and shuffles back 2 to the bottom, and then draws 2 more. He banishes 1 out of my grave. Battle phase just swings in and passes. Luckily, he doesn't have much to do else. I top deck one of the best top decks I could have asked for, which is Tekatomborg. We tag that into a Duke, and we're off to our Rubber Band Shooter, where we've yet to reveal Terratop and Yo-Yo at this point. So we're pretty much... or no, we've already used Terratop at this point, so I have to get Hound. But luckily, I get double Yo-Yo. Double Yo-Yo brings back the dice, which is exactly what we needed to do. And we resolve Cork Shooter here, and we're able to make it a 5. Get into Baron. And I should have made, like, Kite Drake first, possibly, to wipe the field. Then made a Crystal Wing after the fact. Because I think, like, Kite Draking his board is just way more impactful than using a Baron pop here. I do clear the map, which is very, very important. Crystal Wing runs over the Ryza for 3,000, and then we clear everything else after the fact. He turns all of his monsters to defense and passes. I start with the Hound to recycle 1 to go ahead and bring out the Cork Shooter. Hagoita brings itself out, and then we summon the other Crystal Wing here, and this is basically just going to secure the game. And we're on to a game 2 very, very quickly and rather easily. Almost kind of lost that game there. Almost kind of let it slip out of my grip, but we were able to bring it back. So we're going to go ahead and skip to game 2 here. And my opponent goes first, sets 2 and passes. I lead with Wind, pitching dice. That does resolve to grab me Terratop. And I summon Terratop, and he does have Demise of the Land. And that gets him Mystic Mine. I still get to resolve my search here of the Terratop. And at this point, I don't want to commit anything else to the field. So I just set Imperm and pass. I have a Lancea in hand and a Talons. We're basically going into a little bit of a pass back and forth. He's able to eventually resolve a Metaverse. I should have drolled him there. Or no, I didn't have Droll in hand. I thought I did. But I do have a Lancea here as well to activate in response to the map. He normals the Rabina. I imperm it. He does have the book, which helps him be able to still search the Eaglin. Again, I should have still saved the imperm for the Eaglin, but it didn't matter. I think he had book regardless. But I do have Droll, I guess. So if that's the case, I should have just drolled him when he added or no, I couldn't droll him because mine was still on the field, so he's playing around that. Duh, I don't know. I almost forgot that for some reason. But he's able to get into M-Pen and also drop Domain on me, which there's really not much I can do about this whatsoever. I need to go into the extra deck to be able to out that, so we're into a game 3 situation, which unfortunately my camera dies, I want to say, before the match even gets to finish, which is unfortunate. I did buy 2 more batteries. They already came in, so I will have more battery life going forward. We open up Hound plus Recovery. That's able to dump the Terratop here. And I don't know how much time is left here in this video. Not much. But I do play through the Ash. I do Talents here, actually. Look at his hand to reveal Demise of the Land, Judgment, and I think like a starter, like a Robin or something. And then basically what ends up happening is he sets the 2, like the Demise and the Strike. And I play around the Demise for several turns until I top deck a Spiritualism. Spiritualism bounces back the Demise, and then we're able to play our full combo and establish, I think, Crystal Wing Baron and secure the match from there. So, yeah, that's how the rest of the match plays out. And we're able to actually finish a 3-1 record, and I think we ended up getting 9th place overall. So really, really solid, and really, really happy with that overall. Alright guys, we just finished up our round 4 matchup, and we're going to be getting a Sword Soul deck profile. We had 3 4-0s tonight, and I had the choice between like Invoke Shaddoll, Tri-Brigade, and Sword Soul. And can you blame me for wanting to get the Sword Soul deck on the channel? Plus, it's a player that hasn't been on the channel in a very long time, so we're going to get the Sword Soul profile for you. But my camera, I need to get more batteries to this camera, because my camera was running out of battery left and right today. A lot of filming, long matches, etc., etc. So that last match went really, really well. Top deck Spiritualism to hit back his set Demise of the Land. So good. Spiritualism coming in so clutch today. Just needed an out for that Mystic Mine, and we found it. And we were able to go for a game in a very simplified game state. Had to keep normal summoning to not trigger his Demise, because I really didn't want to play around or through the mine. Imperm on Eagle always does the job, and it was really nice playing against a Flunder deck and not having to worry about the Wind Barrier statue lock, because Speedroids best deck, everybody. So we finished 3-1. We're going to get a profile, and then we'll wrap things up a little bit later. Alright everybody, let's quickly wrap up our second week with Speedroids. I know this episode is quite a bit longer than the last one. I've been editing it pretty much all day, so I'll try and make this wrap up here a little quicker than usual. Obviously on Tuesday we went 2-2. We went 3-1 on Saturday, so we were able to bring it back. And I honestly think the deck performed very, very well. The side deck is, I think, where we have the most room to make improvements. And I think that's going to be the main focus in the next coming weeks. Because, again, I think that's where there is most room to make a lot of changes, and really impactful changes at that. The extra deck and main deck are very, very optimized right now, in my opinion anyways, and I don't think they need much changing. And I'm still holding true to what I said earlier in the video. I'm not going to change the deck list whatsoever until right before our next Saturday locals or after it, if I decide to make any changes whatsoever over the course of the week, which honestly don't think I will. Like I said, most of the changes are probably going to be in the side deck, and I'll of course let you guys know what that is in the next episode. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the entire episode. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you guys want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up in the bottom of the screen right now. And as always, Winner Kills signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And last but not least, a special shout out goes to our Divine level channel members, and they are Cadillacs84, Pony Stark, Keith Sidgers, Tweeter0226, and Black Ninja Money. Thank you guys again so much as always for your extremely generous support.